Hey, B30. So I'm going to present the final three chapters, and I'm not going to go into a great discussion in it. If you want to see some other discussions that I've done regarding Animal Farm, please check out my other videos on my Heskin ELA YouTube channel. And I have a playlist that specifically says Animal Farm. So if you need some more or extra guidance outside of what we've discussed in class, please watch those videos and those specific chapters, and go from there. And hopefully it'll help you with your projects that are due, and help you finish those summaries as well. Right, so I'm just going to get into the summaries here, and you can pause. I'm just going to go back here one sec. There we go. So I'm just going to let you take a look at that, and then you can press pause at any time. And so chapter 8 is the Battle of the Windmill and the Fall of Boxer. And there's number 2. We see some amendments to the 7 commandments. They're no longer the same as they were. They've been amended or changed or altered to suit the needs and desires of the governing body, which in this case is Napoleon and the other pigs. In chapter 9, we have retirement redefined, contradiction of animalism roots, spontaneous demonstrations, and martyrism. And so we have demonstrations. This is done to highlight or promote or show others that, or even deflect for that matter, one, to promote the, this is who we are, this is Animal Farm, this is what we have to offer. You need to be proud of that fact, that we are free, and animals own the farm, there's no humans on it. So a sense of pride there as well. And we have the banner, the flags, and we have the bleeding of the sheep, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Anything just keep the momentum going in support of Animal Farm and to promote it as much as possible. That's on the surface, but if you dig a little deeper, it's also deflecting from the fact that the animals are not being fed very well. They're being fed just enough to keep going. And the care of the animals is, the bare minimum as well, while the pigs and the dogs benefit quite a bit from their hard labor. But it's a good way to deflect from the hunger and being cold and stuff like that. And some people buy into it right off the bat because it's a sense of pride. It gives them a break from work too. So I guess to some people, it would be a really good deflection and kind of a break from the monotony that is going on. We have probably the last sign of democracy, albeit there's only one person running for president, and that's Napoleon, so nobody questions that one. And Boxer's not listening to the warnings that he's going, if he continues to exert himself further, it's going to be a downfall for Boxer, and he just disregards it. And he's had at least 3 warnings for him to take care of himself, but he doesn't listen. Chapter 10, we have legend versus myth versus reality. We discussed that in class, what a legend is, and of course then what the myth is and what the reality is. And it all comes down to perception. We have 2-class system. We're pitting one group against another. We have hope over freedom now, instead of just the freedom factor. I talked about what's your definition of freedom. Is it the same as everybody else's? Now it's all about hope. Hope that things will get better for everyone on the farm, instead of having the pigs and dogs benefit and the other animals toiling the land, no pun intended. We have transformation as well of the animals. actually the pigs more so, from pigs into a human representation. They're dressing like humans, they're walking on their hind legs. It's 4 legs good, 2 legs better. Okay, is now the new maxim. And so a lot of changes, or massive changes, take place in chapter 10. And we also have that, because nobody's questioning anything, nobody has questioned one bit about all the changes that have gone on in the farm. It is now the new status quo. There was one animal on the farm that could have spoken up a long time ago, and that was Benjamin, but he kept his mouth shut, and had he spoken up, Boxer probably would still be alive. Had he spoken up earlier about the amendments, early amendments made to the commandments, maybe the other animals would have been a little more keener, or keen to learn those commandments, write it down somewhere, learn the alphabet, just as Snowball was trying to get them to read and write, buy into that. And but only Muriel and Benjamin were really the two animals that I recall that were able to read really well. Clover was kind of hit and miss, but everybody else didn't want to bother. And they weren't encouraged by the pigs. And as far as the pigs were concerned, they were bluffing through everything. They said, "Hey, I've got these documents. Hey, I've got these documents. Okay, if you can read these documents, then you can see what I'm talking about. But if you can't read, you don't know. You don't know what's going on. So you'd have to take my word for it. Okay, validate, question, inquire. Okay, that's the key to everything that you do. And this novel is a good example of what happens when you don't inquire or validate or anything like that. Okay? And just for the sake of a visual, you can see what happens with communism, or when communism takes place, or at least a form of communism takes place in the novel, from chapters 1 to 10, and then democracy, how it just slowly dissipates or disappears. We have a form of fascism. It was kind of hit and miss there for a bit, and then by chapter 10, it was in full swing. Totalitarianism, gradual incline there, and Marxism. This is the old major at the beginning, and then pretty soon people forget old major's teachings, and eventually just flatlines at the end there. So hopefully that gives you an idea, a visual idea of how things transpired in each chapter. All right, so that is Animal Farm. And again, I hope you enjoyed the novel. And again, thank you for the discussions and your input. It's always better when you engage in those discussions, debates about the themes and what's going on in the novel. It makes the novel more interesting and fun to read, and as I said, engaging. So please keep that in mind when you are doing novels in the future. Always ask questions, inquire, discuss, and state what you know, validate it. Let's get a good debate going on there. Maybe provide some different insights, different ways of looking at the text and things like that. And you can also reflect that in your projects as well. Okay, so thanks for good Quint, and don't forget your TED Talks, and get those done, and we're done. Quint 4 starts March 4th. Okay, so, and oh yeah, get your books into the library. Okay, so have a good one. Take care. Be safe.